let's welcome our friend Eric Wood into the conversation, Bills radio color analyst and former Bills center. He's also the host of the Centered on Buffalo podcast. Eric, Merry Christmas and almost Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, guys. Hope you guys had a great day yesterday.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was nice to have a day off.
How much football does Eric Wood watch over the Christmas weekend?
A lot. Yeah, we had it on all day yesterday, 1 o'clock through the end of it. So, yeah, it's on at the house the entire day. We had, whatever it was, parades on in the morning and some kiddie shows or Christmas movies. And my little boy, he's almost 6. He's getting into football, and that's what all the rest of the Wood crew wants to watch with the family that we had over as well.
Tell me this though. I mean, some of it. I mean, because if you got people over, sometimes the football's in the background. It's on.
Sometimes it's hard to focus.
But it's a holiday, right? So everybody's kind of, you pop the red wine is going, and you're watching. You're eating all day, and all that stuff, right? So it's a little bit of background noise, right?
Yeah, for sure. But, that first game was locked in on Raiders, Chiefs, AFC matchup. Not a ton at stake for the Bills other than the fact that they've now, with the Raiders getting the win, have an outside shot at getting that 2 seed, which is nice. And so, and it's always fun to watch Kansas City squirm in the way they did. And so watched that one pretty intently to start the day yesterday.
Let's start with the Bills and the Chargers, that Saturday night game, and then we'll work our way forward into Sunday and Monday games. What are your takeaways from that 2-point victory against Los Angeles? It came down to the wire there, but the Bills were able to get the victory when their backs were against the walls, and when they lost the turnover battle 3-0, they still found a way to win that one.
Yeah, we were talking about before the game how you avoid maybe a trap game, and, realistically, that's what it was. You have a head coach that got fired. You have an interim head coach. They're likely going to play hard for him early, but how do you avoid that trap game? And the way you do that is you take care of the football. Well, the Bills didn't do that. You jump on them early and try and get them to quit like they did against the Raiders a week before. Well, they didn't do that either. And then I thought if you were able to apply consistent pressure on Easton Stick, that you could force him into mistakes until really the second half, and a lot of it was blitzing. Besides that late Ed Oliver sack and maybe a couple other 4-man rushes, it was from blitzes that they were finally able to get to Easton Stick and apply some pressure on him. Now, give Kellen Moore and the Chargers offense credit. They were able to do some things offensively, mixing up the tempo where a lot of times they were going into a play with 2 plays called. And the reason I was assuming it was 2 plays called and not just simply getting back in the line of scrimmage and calling a play, there was just really not a whole lot of communication being done out there. They're getting right back on the line of scrimmage, which avoids Sean McDermott being able to get into his bag defensively and either dialing up pressures or giving different looks or maybe mixing in that dime defense on 2nd and long. And so give Kellen Moore credit because they did some nice things offensively. They threw the kitchen sink at the Bills as far as trick plays and whatnot, which we assumed would happen, in a nothing to lose situation. But all that being said, the Bills win an ugly one, which not all games are going to look like the Cowboys game. And sure, do we want them to? Yes. But this is the NFL. And since 2019, teams with an interim head coach are 7-5. And those are teams that were bad enough prior to get their head coach fired. And then in those next games, they have an above 50% winning percentage. So for the Bills to go travel to the West Coast with just 6 days of rest, I'm not shaking my head. I'm not necessarily disappointed in their performance. Yeah, would we like them all to be easy? Of course. But in the NFL, getting the win is all that matters.
Yeah, and you think about what this game looked like after it was all over. It's second game in a row where Josh, he threw 21 times. Right? Now, certainly the Chargers, they won the time of possession. They played the kind of game they needed to play. They were +3 in the turnovers, the time of possession. They had all that going for them. But when push came to shove and it came down to the stretch, Josh opened it up and made a couple of incredible 3rd down conversions, got him in, kicked the game-winning field goal with virtually no time on the clock or less, half a minute left on the clock. So it kind of went the way the Buffalo Bills wanted it to, but they played against a team in the Chargers, and they beat them kind of like left-handed, right? Lost the turnover battle, and then only threw it 21 times. So is the Bills going to win games like this down the stretch? Is this their new thing? What is this?
I hope not,
Right.
because it wouldn't be good for my blood pressure. But they showed the ability to be able to win like this. And I think part of the reason for it is, I guess I'll call it the resurgence of the defense. And I think it's more just getting used to playing without guys like Daquan Jones, who hopefully comes back this week, Matt Milano, Tre'Davious White, Micah Hyde. There's been so many injuries on this defensive side of the football. You add Rasul Douglas, you add Linval Joseph. Well, you have to get them into the mix. Terrell Dotson has a lot more experience now. You've seen guys up front emerge. Ed Oliver's playing the best football of his career right now. And so I feel like there's kind of a resurgence of the defense to where, yeah, they had some rough points mid-season when you get half of your defensive roster in, you know, four of your highest paid guys, if you include Von Miller, who was coming off of IR. You have four of your highest paid guys in the team that are missing those games. Ed Oliver misses the New England game as well. And so now you're kind of getting used to it. And Sean McDermott's getting used to play calling for a defense that's without all of those guys, which wasn't what he anticipated in the preseason. And then offensively, yeah, you only have 51 total plays in the game. Well, you have a fumbled punt return, and then the James Cook fumble and the Josh Allen interception both came early in drives. And so you turn the ball over early in drives and you force a punt defensively, and then you have that fumbled punt return. Well, that's how you get smashed on the time of possession in a game. It's those timeout or those turnovers early in drives. And because of that, you know, there just wasn't that much production offensively from a stat standpoint. You guys mentioned player of the game, Gabe Davis, and it was nice to see him step up. And you know what? If Gabe Davis's role at this point of his career, or this point of his time with the Bills is, hey, he is our number 2 receiver, and the snap count would show as so, but he is a valuable asset on a down-to-down basis, whether it is his run blocking ability, whether it's creating space for other guys, or if it's a game like this one, or a game like the Buccaneers where he does have favorable matchups, or they're dedicating the defense to stop the run and bring the safeties down, then Gabe Davis can still be that over-the-top threat, that big play threat that we've seen him be during his time in Buffalo.
Yeah, it was great to see him get going in this one. I know we want to see more out of him, and hopefully that continues down the stretch. You got 2 games left in the regular season and the playoffs, and who knows how Gabe can help this team. I mean, we've seen how he can help the team before, and hopefully he continues to do that. We also got a chance to see Leonard Fournette in his first game in a Buffalo Bills uniform. Not any crazy stats. I mean, 5 carries for 20 yards, averages 4 yards carry, not a bad number there. What did you think of your first look at him?
Yeah, a nice little kick return as well. And, you know, it's going to take some time for him to, you know, mesh with this offense and mesh with the offensive line. But I like that they got him some experience in this one. Ty Johnson out with the shoulder injury. Hopefully he's ready to go this week, because I do feel like he brings some juice to the offense. And, you know, to me, when I look at this running back depth right now, I love James Cook at the 1. And right now I put Ty Johnson 2. And then to me, Murray and Fournette can kind of be interchangeable at this point. Fournette has shown a little bit more than those 3 behind James Cook throughout his career, and really more than Cook as well. But you're not taking James Cook out of the lineup for anything right now, unless it's to rest him, in my opinion. And so who the 2 running backs active behind James Cook is each week will be interesting once Ty Johnson comes back. But the fact that you got Fournette in there already and maybe get him some action again this week is another piece. It's another piece to this Bills offense. He's got tremendous size. He could be your power back. He's also great catching the football out of the backfield. And so it was nice to see him out there. And I know a lot of Bills fans who have been clamoring and all in my mentions on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. We're happy to see him out there as well.
Yeah, and as this season rolls down to the playoffs, and the Bills right now are, you know, at the 6th seed, and, you know, 2 weeks ago they were 11th. It's an amazing rise, and we kind of knew they had it in them, but they were struggling to finish off games and win them. So here they are coming down the stretch. Steph Diggs, while this last game he had some good catches, no question, but he still, you know, 5 catches for 29. It's not kind of the game that we were looking for. But in the last couple of games, when they've needed a catch, man, the guy has come through. What's this say about where the offense is right now? I know we don't know that much about Joe Brady. The results have been pretty good, right? But we're still looking for this offense. Like, where did Diggs go? What's Joe Brady going to do? How are they going to incorporate Steph back into the offense? And, of course, Gabe Davis, if he keeps having games like this, fine, nobody cares. So, I still think this getting used to Joe Brady, I think they still are, right? I don't think we know what this offense would look like in its best form under Joe Brady, particularly with Diggs and his inability to be consistently a big part of it.
Yeah, just hasn't been targeted that much either, really, especially down the field. A lot's been in the screen game, slants, some shorter third down plays just past the sticks. And he has made some nice plays on those. Right after the game, Adam Schefter put out Diggs' stat production under Joe Brady, trying to stir the pot and, trying to get some type of reaction out of Diggs. And I thought it was really mature on his end to respond back to it and say, we're winning games, and that's all that matters. And look, this time of year, that is all that matters. Does your number one receiver want the production? Yes. Is he likely a little frustrated by the lack of production on his end and involvement of the offense? I'm sure, but I don't know what's happening behind closed doors. And I understand that Joe Brady's MO, and it's been evident since they played the Jets and attacked those linebackers with the run game and then got them matched up in man and utilized James Cook and Ty Johnson. I mean, that's our first sample size of Joe Brady as offensive coordinator. He's attacking matchups. Last week against the Chargers, it seemed like they were targeting number 43, one of their corners, and they had some different spots that they were just trying to target against that defense. And so I'd like to hope that, when the matchups are right, we'll get back to the 12 targets for Diggs and 150 yards and a couple touchdowns. But right now, it hasn't happened. And I'm not sure if that's by game plan or how it's played out during the actual games. But yeah, I mean, and look, I'll be honest. I thought that heading into the Chargers game, I thought that was going to be the Stefon Diggs get right game. Now you only have 51 offensive plays as opposed to the Cowboys game where I believe they had over 80. And so you're talking about 30 less chances to get him the ball in that game. But I truly thought that was going to be the get right game. And I was kind of surprised it didn't happen.
Who knows? Maybe this week could be the get-right game for Stefon Diggs, as the Patriots have a pretty good run defense, one of the best in the NFL. Not as good against the pass, ranked 15th against the pass, second against the run. So maybe this will be Diggs' get-right game as you head into the end of that regular season and into the playoffs. Good thing is they can still rely on that guy when they need him most. I mean, he is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL for a reason. When you look at the game ahead, the game against the Patriots, what are some thoughts that come to mind? If the Bills win out and the Dolphins drop this week's game to the Ravens, the Bills could get the number 2 seed here.
Yeah, so I'll start with my thoughts on the Diggs situation for this week, because Diggs has been Bill Belichick's focal point. He's always trying to make you play left-handed as an offense. He's always trying to take away whatever you do best and make everyone else try and beat you. And that's been Bill Belichick's MO. Well, if I'm looking at this Bills team right now and this Bills offense, I'm taking away James Cook. And so is this the week that, Diggs can then get his touches and he can eat on the outside, because the focus becomes stopping the run and then not letting Cook get those matchups on the outside. New England run a good amount of man-to-man defense. Well, when the teams have run man-to-man defense against the Bills as of late, it's been James Cook on wheel routes. It's been a corner route against the Cowboys one-on-one and utilizing his speed against linebackers. And so this could be a game that we see Diggs get some targets and get that production that we expect from him, and he expects from himself, and this organization expects of him as well. And then when you look at how this could all play out this weekend, and still can't believe the Dolphins get past Dallas. I can't believe Tony Pollard. He's been a disappointment to me on my fantasy team all year, and then he doesn't get that ball into the end zone. And this one, I'm like, that's just classic, 2023 Tony Pollard, even though I do like him as a player. But when you look at this week, if the Ravens can get the win, I mean, this is going to be old school Steve Tasker era Bills Dolphins rivalry talks next week. And look, I'm excited for it to be back. It's two kind of polarizing teams. It was Marino and that squad, and it was Jim Kelly and this squad. It's the beach versus the snow. It's the Southeast versus, everyone wants to call it upstate New York, but it's Western New York. But, you have these polarizing franchises almost built in different ways too. You have this high-flying Dolphins team, tons of star power, and, Josh Allen enters the league as a top 10 pick, but the guy that nobody wanted, and you build organically for the most part outside of a few free agents. And to me, this is it could if both teams in the Ravens and the Bills take care of business this week, it could be a very, very fun week next week. I'm excited to see how this shakes out, and then even what day and time this game's going to be played.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eric.
Sounds exciting already. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Merry Christmas, guys.